McCloud, who for the last almost 14 years serves on the Oregon Ministry Leadership Executive Team as Assistant Superintendent. Lee and I have been married for 41 years and in the ministry for 38. We have 3 adult daughters, 2 son-in-laws, and 2 grandchildren, ages 16 and 14. The Oregon Ministry Network theme word this year is opportunity. Opportunity is defined as a set of circumstances that make it possible to do something. In Genesis 37 through 41, Joseph had many circumstances that made it possible for him to do something. The Lord was with Joseph and gave him opportunity, great success, and favor in whatever he did. Why? Because Joseph trusted God and put God first no matter what his situation. There were 4 circumstances in these chapters that God placed Joseph in, and he had the opportunity to make a difference in each one. There was the pit, prominence, prison, and the palace. Joseph was the youngest of 12 brothers and was known by the other 11 as the big dreamer and the favored son. Because of the family jealousy, Joseph found himself in the pit. The pit was an opportunity disguised as an impossibility. From human perspective, we see tragedy, but from God's perspective, we see salvation and divine opportunity. Joseph was sold into slavery, but Joseph was bought into prominence. God took Joseph from the pit to be sold and then bought by a prestigious man whose name was Potiphar. God presented Joseph with an opportunity to run the household of Potiphar, and he did so successfully. But things didn't go so smoothly. Because of Potiphar's wife lying about Joseph, Joseph found his opportunity being destroyed, and thus he was thrown into prison. Remember, with every opportunity, Satan is right there to try to destroy the work of God. Joseph went from the pit to prominence and from prominence to prison. While in prison, Joseph was given another opportunity. This opportunity was to oversee men in the prison, including the king's cupbearer and the king's baker. Again, Joseph did everything successfully. He had divine moments that God gave him and used him in interpreting dreams. Because of this opportunity, the cupbearer introduces Joseph to the king of Egypt to interpret the king's disturbing dreams. So Joseph was taken from the prison to the palace for yet another divine opportunity. Ultimately, though technically a slave, Joseph was placed in second command over the entire nation of Egypt. This was a divine opportunity that God placed him in. And from this opportunity and position, Joseph would be used to preserve his family, the nation of Israel, and the nation of Egypt. Joseph went from the pit to prominence, from prominence to prison, and from prison to the palace. In every situation, God provided Joseph with an opportunity to influence the world around him. God, too, wants us to influence the world around us by seizing opportunities presented to us. Sometimes, however, we must seize the opportunity while facing impossible circumstances and situations like Joseph did. But remember, God orders our footsteps. If Joseph had waited and went through everyday motions of life, he would have never experienced the opportunities like he did. In fact, Joseph died as a slave in Egypt, but he was also second in command of an entire nation, answering only to Pharaoh. Our human reasoning says opportunities come from great moments in our lives, but Joseph's story tells us a different opportunity, that it can come from tragedy and impossibilities as well. Joseph seized opportunities regardless of his circumstances or situations that he was placed in. He seized every opportunity that God gave him. If we hope to influence our world, we too must seize any and all opportunities, no matter what circumstances are presented to us. Now, women in ministry, go seize your opportunities.